What is up, YouTube? It has been way too long since I've last made a video. So much was happening back to back. My husband was finally able to bring up the rest of our stuff that we had in storage. And then I got sick, and we just had so much stuff all over the house. And we're still unpacking, which is, as you can see, I'm in the kitchen recording this video. But I wanted to make this video to finally do my mega book haul that I've been wanting to do for a while. And show you all of my books that I've had in storage, because I don't even remember everything that I have. With that being said, this video will be broken into either 2 or 3 videos. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be a full 3 videos or not, just because I have my books piled in different parts of the apartment right now as we're going through stuff. And so we'll start with the first chunk of books that I have next to me off camera. I'm sorry, if you hear a noise in the background, that's my dog, Simba. He was eating his food and drinking. He's walking around over here. So, further ado, here we go. The first book in my lovely pile here is The Crossroads by W.M. Paul Young. This is a Christian book, Christian author. He is well known for his book, The Shack, which I also own. I own 2 copies of that, funny enough. Funny story about that one later. I really enjoyed The Shack, and I found this book in the Goodwill where I had lived, and I wanted to read more of his books, and I came across this one in a really good condition. Very good condition. I have not read this book. Some of these books I have not read yet, and some I have, so just bear with me on that. This one I have not read yet. If you have not read The Shack, I highly recommend you read it. It is a very good read. This author is a very good writer. With that being said, coming in October, I don't remember the exact date at the time, the author is announced he is writing the sequel to The Shack 20 years later, which is really cool, and it's going to be titled Return to the Shack, which I want to give a huge shout out to the author and the publisher for giving me an ARC copy of that book, which I cannot wait to start reading, which I will start reading very soon. I'm really excited for that. But yeah, Crossroads. I might not explain what some of these books are about, just because there's so many. So just bear with me. This next book is One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus, or McManus. No, Manus, yeah. This is part of the... It's a duology, is it? I believe. And the other one is One of Us is Next. I think I own the One of Us is Next on my bookshelf. I don't know for sure. I'd have to check. But Karen McManus, she's a really good author. I have another book of hers. It's in this pile somewhere. That I did read, and I really enjoyed it, and so I want to read more of her books. And so this is one of her books that I own. Still yet to get to, because it is a chunky one. It is, as you can tell by the cover, it is a mystery thriller. So I do like that. There's that. This next book I got solely of a recommendation from a YouTuber. I want to say her YouTuber is Haley from Bookland. I apologize if I got that wrong. But it is Sadie by Courtney Sumter, or Summers. I am so sorry. This is also a mystery thriller, suspense thriller. On the back it says, today WNRK is launching the first episode of our new serialized podcast, The Girls, created and hosted by Wes McCrae. So this is a radio, a person who works with radio. They're following a story of a murder that happened in the town, and they're having the help of the victim's sister trying to figure out what happened to her. When she talked about this book, she did mention there is some triggers in here. I don't remember what the triggers are on the top of my head, so you might want to look into that before reading it. If you have triggers and there's certain content you don't really read, definitely research this before you start reading it. She recommended it's one of her favorite books that she's got. Again, have not read it yet, but I'm excited to. So that's Sadie. The next one I got from Half Price Books. Now this goes back to, I want to say 2021, 22, when my husband first brought me to Indiana for vacation. Me and his family. And there was a Half Price bookstore nearby, and they were doing what's called a $25 fill-a-bag event, where you go there, they give you a tote bag, decent-sized tote bag, and you fill it up. As long as the handles can touch at least like that much, whole bag, $25. It's one of my favorite book sales. I try to go to it every year. But this is Rebel Rising, Star Wars. My husband and I, as you know in my past videos, we are huge Star Wars fans, and I've been wanting to actually read the Star Wars books, because I've seen the movies, we own all the movies, but I never read the books. So I've been looking at some Star Wars books that I come across, whether it's, Half Price Books, Goodwill. Yeah, so this one's Rebel Rising. This next one, I remember I purchased it from a dollar store in Florida, and it's called Bring Me Back. It says, she vanished. A decade ago, his girlfriend disappeared. He lied. He told the police the truth about that night, just not the whole truth. Their secrets won't stay buried. Now he's moved on, but the past isn't done with him yet. I just love the cover, and I love how thin it is, so it's a quick read. And I got that, like I said, I got this from the dollar store. Normally, I don't really get books from the dollar store, because they were kind of like, eh. But I saw this one, and it looked really good, and I figured, I'm going to give it a try, even though it came from the dollar store. Yeah. This next one, I've been dying to read and just never had the chance to. There's a stain on here. I don't like that. Or probably just the cover. And I've been hearing a lot of good reviews about this, even after I got this. This is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. If I mispronounced the last name, I apologize. I've heard a lot about this book. A mother and daughter YouTuber that I follow, Mom and Shar, they both talked about this book and they liked it. Let me see. So basically, it's about this guy. He ends up murdered. Last one to see him alive basically is the wife, but she doesn't talk, doesn't say what happened, and they're basically trying to get her to talk, get her side of the story, and figure out what the heck happened that night. This author, he also came out with another book called The Fury, which I've also heard was really good. That one I don't own. but I heard it's also really good. This next book I don't really know much about it, but I purchased it at Barnes & Noble, and it's Clara and the Sun. I've heard some pretty good reviews. There's a couple YouTubers I used to watch that mentioned this book and that they really enjoyed it. And from what I can gather, to me, it's about a girl named Clara, who she's not human, she's a robot. And she's assigned to a little girl, I believe. But she kind of wants to be human, the robot. And it reminded me a lot of the video game Being Human, which is an awesome game. I don't know if there's any suspense in this one, but it sounded like it would have been a nice read. So I ended up picking it up. I know you guys are probably like, why do you have so many books and you don't read them? I'm trying to read all my books that I have now. I realize I've been buying way too many before I can even actually read things. So I kind of put a book ban on myself for now so I can catch up on my reading. Anyway, to continue, this next book is also by Karen M. McManus, and this one is The Cousins. Now, I got this book a long time ago at Barnes & Noble. My cousin, actually, she was the one that told me about this book. She said she had it and she was really liking it. So I went ahead and I got a copy and I started reading it. We did it together. We decided to read it together and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. The ending surprised me completely. If you like suspense mystery, this is one to definitely read. I'll probably definitely reread this again. This next book is by Lisa Jewell, and it is called Invisible Girl. Now, I've read her other book right here, Then She Was Gone, and oh my gosh, that was so good. And I've been wanting to read more of Lisa Jewell's books, excuse me. There was one book of hers that I had read recently that it just wasn't for me. But it's okay, you know. You're not gonna like every book you see out there. I don't remember what this one's about. Other than a girl disappears one night and one person could possibly be responsible for it. But yeah, Lisa Jewell. And this other book I got, I was so excited to get my hands on it. I've seen the movie way too many times. I own the movie, and I was really excited to finally have the book, and that is Misery by Stephen King. If you're not familiar with this book, it is about an author who is well known for his book series, and one particular winter storm, he gets in a wreck, and this woman who claims to be his #1 fan saves his life, but she's upset at the fact of something going on with his books and wants him to continue writing a new book just for her, except this woman is psycho. In the movie, Kathy Bates plays the psycho lady, and she does a fantastic job being a psycho, by the way. Kudos to that. Anything Stephen King writes is amazing. This is one of my favorites. Are we done? No, we're not even halfway done. And we're already 14 minutes into this video. This next book is a children's book that I got. You're probably like, why the heck did you get a children's book? I like kids' books sometimes, okay? But I got this book because my husband and I have talked about having kids together. And I grew up loving Pooh Bear, which most people have. My my daughter, she loves Pooh Bear. But when I saw this book, it was gorgeous. I mean, look at that. The Enchanted World of Winnie the Pooh. Look at that. I mean, look at that. Look how cool. And it's a pop-up. Guys, it's a Winnie the Pooh pop-up book. Can't get any better than that. So I've always loved the story of Winnie the Pooh. And I will pass the story on to my kids when they come along. Yes, I know. I said I have a daughter and I have a son. But they're all, all grown up now. But yeah, Pooh Bear. I do have a bunch of other child's books, but that'll just have to be another time, another day. This next book is based on a Christian movie, and that is called Courageous. Another very, very, very good movie. I highly recommend the movie. The book is just as good. It's about 4 officers from the same police department and how they work together in, supporting God. When one of the officers, they fall down the wrong path, and the other guys, they help them through it to get back on the right path with God. And things happen, and this one I will say is definitely a tearjerker. Definitely a tearjerker, but it is worth it. It is so worth it, guys. This next book I got from Walmart. It just looked really interesting, and it's The Women of the Bible Speak, and it's basically all the women in the Bible and their stories in here. And I thought it just looked really pretty to add that to my my collection. There's that. This next one I got because my husband showed me the movie, and I absolutely love the movie. And again, I was in a Goodwill, and I saw this book on the shelf, and I wanted to add it to my collection. And that is The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. And it's about a man, Lee Strobel, who, at the time of writing this, he didn't really believe in God. He had questions, and so he researched to see if, God was real. And he came to the very real conclusion that God is real. And he explains that in his book here. The movie is phenomenal. And, yeah, I was really happy to find this book. Well, let me put it over here before I have a leaning tower of books here. This next book I read, and I enjoyed it so much, I even reread it on my Kindle. And it's In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife. This is also Mr. Thriller. It's about a group of, I think it's 4 or 5 friends that they were friends in college in this university. And during their time in the university, one of the friends ends up murdered. Nobody knows who did it. And a few years pass by, they all graduate. And it comes to the university having a class reunion party, and they all reunite back. And they all decide to kind of revisit their past and see if they can really figure out who killed their friend and why. I really, really liked it. It was a fun, fast pace in it. It really does keep you guessing on who it was. You feel like you know who it is, but then when you get towards the end, you're like, wow, I was way off. But yes, In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. I definitely want to look up more of her books, because I want to read more of her books. This was fantastic. Fantastic. I don't think there's special different colors. Nope. Okay. I feel like I might own another one of her books. I have no idea. This chunk here. I can read a little bit. It's a whole series. There's 7 books. There's special editions. And this is The Chronicles of Narnia. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Books 1 through 7. I'll do this. So here's the first book. This one's the second book. Third book. The fourth book. The fifth book. The sixth book. And the 7th book. I've always loved Chronicles of Narnia. Own the movies. Well, this is about 4 kids that they find a magical wardrobe that leads them into a whole another world. And this is a special edition. They call it the Full Color Collector's Edition. So you have full colored pictures in here. And I like how each one of these, they're not as, they're not so thick. And they're cute little size. And the font is nice and clear. I believe this is a middle grade series, but I recommend it for all ages. Put that there. This next book I got, well, actually, my dad got it for me. He was at Costco and I saw it and he knew I liked it, so he picked it up. And it's The Woman in the Window. And on Netflix, they came out with a TV show based on it. They have the actual movie on there, I believe, and then they also have a TV show, which is like 15 words long. For the same thing, a woman has a phobia of going outdoors after she lost her daughter tragically, and she basically lives in her house. She's like a hermit crab. And one day she's looking out her window and she sees a murder happen. And she calls the cops and she's like, this person died. I just saw them in the window. The cops, they come to investigate and she gets told, oh no, everything's fine. Nothing happened there. But she knows what she saw and she's trying to prove that she's not crazy. That she saw what she saw, But, yeah. Keep one on your side. Now, this other one is another children's book, but, again, I'm a big child at heart, okay? And growing up, I used to... What are you doing, Simba? He's over here trying to play around back here. I grew up with VeggieTales, and so I saw this book years ago, and I grabbed it from the Goodwill, because, I love VeggieTales, even though it's, for kids. But this is, from Big Ideas, and it's VeggieTales Bible Storybook, with scripture from the NIRV. I don't know what version that one is at the top of my head. But VeggieTales. So it looks like on the inside. But yeah. I'm really glad to have this. And I have not yet read this yet, but I plan to eventually read this, maybe in the summer. Yeah, I could do that in the summer. That'll be fun, right, guys? Here. That's a cookbook. We don't need to go over that. Oh, these two gonna kind of go with each other. I know I have a couple others of these on my shelf. Because I've been trying to collect these. But this is book 2 and book 7 of the Love Comes Softly series. And I've been trying to get the rest of these. I'm pretty sure I have a couple of others of these on my shelf. I have to check my Christian shelf. But my husband was the one that introduced me into the series. He showed me the movies of them, and I didn't know that they're actually based on books by Jeanette Oak. So once I saw the movies, I loved them, and I'm also trying to collect the movies. I have a few of them. So I'm trying to get all the movies, and I'm trying to, get all the books. I haven't read these yet because I want to get all the books first, and that way I can, read them back to back. I know I have the first book on my shelf. I definitely do have the first one on my shelf. I just don't remember the other ones that I have or which ones I'm missing from the series, but yeah. This is a nice, good-hearted, Christian little story. If you like I apologize for that. That is our wall clock that we have. Let me know that it's 12 o'clock. But I was saying, if you like books that deal with the old times, like the westward time era, you'll definitely like this series. I love it so much. But yeah, love comes softly. This next book, and I have two others, but they're in my other pile for later. This is called Whoology. It is the Doctor Who official miscellany. Yeah, my husband and I, my husband got me into Doctor Who, okay? His mother was a huge fan, his brother is a huge fan, then he got me into it, and we watched every episode, every season, loved it. So, when I saw this, I had to have it for my collection. It says, do you know your Sontarans from your Silurians? What are the 40 best ways to defeat a Dalek? What are the galactic coordinates of Gallifrey? Test your knowledge of the last Time Lord and the worlds he's visited in Whoology, an unforgettable journey through 50 years of Doctor Who. So that was really cool to have. And then this is here. It's a whole nother series. It's a big chunk here. I think this is all of them. Is it? I think so. This is the Little House on the Prairie book series. By all means, they're not in order at all. I just put them in the box when we were moving. So they are kind of all over the place. This one's the first book, Little House on the Prairie. It takes place in the same time era as Love Comes Softly. So there's that. There is These Happy Golden Years. Wait. This is not the first book. This is the second book. That is so weird. This is the second book. This one is the first book. Little House in the Big Woods is the first book, from what I see here. This is the third book, Farmer Boy. This is book 4, On the Banks of Plum Creek. Wait a minute. You know what? It's been a long day. This is the second book, Little House on the Prairie. The other one is like the second to last book. Ugh. What do we have? By the Shores of Silver Lake. Where's that one? Oh. This is the next book in the series. Then there is, it's upside down, The Long Winter. Then there is Little Town, or Little Town on the Prairie. And then there's this one, These Happy Golden Years. And last but not least, The First 4 Years. Whew. Didn't think we'd get through that. This one, my husband told me about it, and he liked it growing up. And, I don't remember how I found these. I think they were actually all together in a Goodwill, and I got lucky and I found all of them all together, so I snagged them. But that is all of them. There, that is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books. Right here. Now, the one and only bookshelf that I have is completely full. Hence why the rest of my books are in piles, because I have nowhere else to put any of my stuff right now. In this tiny apartment, because it's a tiny apartment. We are working on getting a house. We have the house. We're just working on moving into the house. So there's that. But yeah, Little House on the Prairie. This next book is another Christian book. I have not read it yet, but I've watched the movie, and I absolutely loved the movie, and that is Fireproof. Very, very good movie. Trying to remember what this one was about. Firefighter who, I guess you can kind of see he's having kind of like a mid-life crisis kind of thing. And, just a lot going on in his life, and he just doesn't understand it, and basically things are falling apart around him, his marriage, and he gets introduced to God, and God helps him get through that time of his life. Again, a very good book. Very, 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 very good. So this says there's production photos, but I don't see any in here. So either they were completely ripped out, which I don't see any gaps in the book. Production photos. Oh, in the back. I was looking for colored photos, but yeah. The screenplays by these two brothers, Alex Kendrick and Stephen Kendrick, or Steven. I don't know how he pronounces that. But their movies, they come out with such good, meaningful movies. They've come out with Overcomer. There's, I believe they did War Room. Oh, there's just so many to list. But Fireproof. And then the last stack in this pile for this first video is, I want to say, the complete series of A Series of Unfortunate Events. However, it is not complete. It was, I'm missing my book 1 I have no idea what happened to it. Matter of fact, I was just talking to my mom about it the other day. It vanished. So, I'm gonna have to eventually get another copy of it. So other than that, that's the only book that's missing. So I'll show you the rest of the series that I have. They're all original covers. I've had this series since I was in high school. Okay, when they first came out. This is the second book, Reptile Room. There's The Wide Window, The Miserable Mill, Ostry Academy, I think that's how you pronounce the name. The Ersatz Elevator. This is the only paperback copy that I have of the series. The rest is hardcover. That was because when this book came out, all the hardcovers were sold out, and they only had paperback left, so I got the paperback. There's The Vile Village, The Hostile Hospital, The Carnivorous Carnival, can't talk, The Slippery Slope, The Grim Grotto, The Penultimate Peril, and The End. For those who aren't familiar with this book series, it follows 3 siblings, which are known as the Baudelaire children. There's Sunny, Violet, and Klaus. The story starts out that their parents have passed away in a terrible house fire, and they go to live with the next relative, who is a man named Count Olaf, who isn't as he seems, and each book is the children going from one relative to another while they're trying to run away from this Count Olaf guy. He is a bad dude, bad news, and that's as far as I'm going to say with it, because I didn't want to ruin it for you guys. It is a great series. I highly recommend it. Since this series came out, they've released the movie, which is also really good. I highly recommend it, where Jim Carrey plays as Count Olaf. And on Netflix, they released the TV series, which is also really good. And Count Olaf in the TV show is played by Neil Patrick Harris, who also did a wonderful job as Count Olaf. So that is the first chunk of my books that have come up here from Florida. And I would show them all here, but I don't have enough arm strength to carry it all now. It's a huge stack. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. And then I'll have this posted up, and then I'm gonna try to make a part 2 video of my other books, see if I can fit that whole chunk into one other video, and that way it's not like 3 separate videos, and try to get those all up and running so you guys can see my wonderful collection. With that being said, please don't forget to subscribe down below and to hit the notification bell as always. If there's any of these books that you saw that you liked, comment down below. I'm kind of curious on what you thought. If you have any recommendations, don't be afraid to comment down below. And yeah, I'll go ahead and say bye for now. Be back soon.